Hello, New York Giants fans. Welcome back to Everything New York Giants, the podcast with me, New York Giants fangirl. So excited today because it's Victory Monday. The Giants have won another game and they are now 3-8 on the season. And I know that probably doesn't instill a lot of confidence, hope, or excitement for Giants fans, but it does for me, and I'm going to tell you why. First of all, Giants went down to Washington. They beat the Commanders 31-19. The defense had 6 turnovers, one of them being a pick six. Tommy Devito settled in, especially in the second half, made some beautiful throws, was extremely accurate, and did not turn the ball over once. So there were definitely some good things coming out of yesterday and, some stuff that they still have to work on, obviously. But I have done some unhinged math over the last 12 hours or so. And listen, I know the people who want to tank. I get it. I get it. I said this yesterday. I'm at home and I'm watching the game and I cannot root for this team to lose. I can't do it. Tommy Devito looks good. Slayton comes up with a big play. Saquon with a beautiful catch in the end zone. The defense making plays left and right. Kayvon got 2 sacks. He's up to 10.5 on the season. Dexter had 2 sacks. I just couldn't sit there and root for the team to lose. I can't do it. If you want to, by all means, go ahead. I understand the importance of a high draft pick. I really do. But I'm focused on the now, okay? I want this team to win. So last night, the Vikings lose. And, I kind of just feel like maybe we can make a run. Maybe. And the reason that I say that is because of a couple things. Packers are not looking great. Seahawks are not looking great. Vikings lost again last night. I just feel like the Giants, they're 2-2 in the division, which is huge. We play the Patriots on Sunday, which we very easily can win. In theory, we should win that one. If we don't, we got some real big problems, which we already know, but it's going to get worse if they lose to the Patriots, And then we have a bye week, and after the bye, we play the Packers at home. But Tyrod and Waller should both be eligible to come back after the bye. Now, depending on how things go with Tommy DeVito, obviously we'll see what it looks like by that point in the season. But I just look at it and go, we're getting Tyrod back, we're getting DeVito back, we're getting Waller back. That could make a difference. It really could make a big difference. So I'm on the winning train. I want this team to win. If you want them to tank, by all means, go ahead. But I was really excited for them after that game yesterday. And it just, I think the biggest thing that it does for the players in the building is that it instills confidence. It makes them feel good again. Dable said after the post game that, losing is not good and winning is good for the team. We all know that. But I think someone asked him about the tanking philosophy and whatever. But I feel like we could be right back in it, okay? Washington is 4-7. They play the Cowboys this weekend, which, listen, I would love nothing more than for the Cowboys to lose. And I think if they lose, either way, I think it could benefit the Giants, maybe. But if we win and the Commanders lose, we have the same record right there with the Commanders, and we're 2-2 in the division, which is big. So Washington, I think, is I am not 100% sure, but Washington definitely has 3 losses in the division. They have at least 2, obviously. Anyway, we can get into that at another time, but I want to see this team win. It's good for everyone. As a fan, I feel really happy to wake up on Monday and finally have a Victory Monday again. It's way more fun to record the podcast after the Giants win. So let's get into it. Tommy DeVito, 18 for 26 for 246 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Now, he was sacked 9 times for 45 yards. We need to talk about the sacks for a second because Washington is out here thinking they're the 85 Bears, and Tommy DeVito is, getting mauled a little bit. And listen, the offensive line was garbage in at least the first quarter. I think as the game went on, they started to get it together, which is a little concerning to me because for the first time all year, it's the exact same offensive line that it was last week. Very interesting. Don't know why it was worse, especially when Montez Sweat and Chase Young are no longer on the team. But this is the Giants for you. So, anyway, the line was doing the line things, but also Tommy DeVito needs to move out of the pocket quicker. He needs to move a little bit better, get rid of the ball faster, and also he's got to feel the pressure. There were a couple times when I'm screaming at the TV, I'm seeing multiple guys go after him, and this is a complaint that a lot of Giants fans rightly have about Daniel Jones, is that he gets completely blindsided on a lot of plays and has no idea that anyone is even coming for him. So same thing with Tommy DeVito here. He's got to try and figure out how he can get a little bit better at that and escape the pocket, because there's no reason why the Commanders should have had 9 sacks. I mean, some of them were on the offensive line and some of them were on DeVito. So that's something I really want to see him try and improve moving forward. Outside of that, he was quite accurate. He didn't turn the ball over, made some beautiful throws down the field to Slayton and to Saquon. I'm going to get on my soapbox. Where is Jalen Hyatt? I saw him out there. I'm looking at Dan Duggan. Let's talk about the amount of snaps for a second here, okay? Wandale was involved, which was good. I would have liked to see him involved more. Where is Jalen Hyatt? Played 53% of the snaps. Why? Why is he playing 53% of the snaps and not 100? I mean, at the very least, you use him as a decoy, right? Like, he had, out of 2 targets, he had 1 reception for 7 yards. Why? Get him more involved. And this week especially, like, yeah, we can talk about the sacks and blah, blah, blah. There were a lot of them, sure. But they still threw the ball down the field. They just didn't throw it to Jalen Hyatt. And there's no excuse for that. You know, there was 1 ball down the field that I think went out of bounds because it was overthrown. Like, enough is enough. What are we doing here? Get him involved. He's a playmaker on this team, okay? It's so bizarre to me. I don't want to hear from Dable that, oh, he's still young and has a lot to learn. My ass, okay? That's not the excuse. I don't know what the excuse is anymore, but I'm tired of them. Whatever they are, he needs to be involved. Just like you need to put Saquon on the field when it's 3rd and 2. Even the announcers were like, why is Saquon not on the field? Even if you're going to give the ball to Breida, you put Saquon out there so they all think Saquon's getting the ball. Just some bizarre things, okay? And I know we've all been questioning the play calling and decisions like that throughout the season. I have no answers for you. I really don't. It's frustrating to me too. I don't think we'll ever get answers, but I just need them to get the playmakers involved all the time, but especially when it counts, like on 3rd and 2. So, you know, that's one of my complaints. Let's continue on with the receiving for a second. Darius Slayton led the team, 4 receptions out of 5 targets for 82 yards and 1 touchdown. Saquon, 4 receptions out of 5 targets for 57 yards and 2 touchdowns. Saquon had a great day yesterday. And guys, like, not to toot my own horn, but the 4 players that I told you to watch, 3 of them had excellent days. Jalen Hyatt would have had an excellent day if they got him involved and put him in for more than 53% of the snaps. But I'm not the one calling the plays, so I can't change that. But I did tell you to keep your eyes on Saquon. And what did he do? 2 tutties. And the other 2 guys we're going to talk about when we get through the defense. But overall, a really good day. For the most part, not really good. Okay, a good day for the offense for the most part. Receivers made some good plays. Saquon made some great plays. The running backs did a good job. We can talk about the rushing in a second. They had 246 yards receiving for 3 touchdowns. And the longest one was 40 yards. So again, overall pretty good day from the offense. I just would have liked to see them move the ball more consistently. When you have 5 turnovers on defense and you only put up 24 offensive points, something is not right there, you know? And I understand, you know, in some situations, Dable wanted to go for it. I'm on board for that. Like, you know, it's the Commanders we're talking about. I toggle between points are points, you go for the field goal, but also like you're never winning a game with field goals only. You have to score touchdowns. And, you know, the offense was able to move the ball. It's not like they scored 9 points off of field goals. They were able to move the ball. They just couldn't do it consistently. And that's what I find really frustrating about this offense. And again, I know part of it is the offensive line. I know part of it is the sacks and Devito not getting out of there. Some of it is the receivers dropping balls. Some of it is, you know, throughout the first half and I think even into the middle of the third quarter, they had 0 rushing yards. So, I don't know, just some very interesting things there. But I feel a little bit better with the way the offense moved the ball, but it's not great. Like, they still have to improve upon that big time. So, you know, good days, again, like I said, for the receivers as a whole. Bellinger was more involved, which I love to see. I love Bellinger. I know that he's been really had to be used for blocking for most of the year. I get it. I think he's a good blocker, and when he's on the team, he should do whatever he can to help the team win. If that's blocking, so be it. If it's receiving, so be it. So he was the only one yesterday who caught every ball that came his way. 3 for 3 for 38 yards. Wandale was 3 for 4 for 35 yards. Hodgins, 2 for 3, 22 yards. Again, Hyatt, like I said, 1 for 2 for 7 yards. And Shep, 1 for 3 for 5 yards. And then Breida, 0 receptions out of 1 target. So let's go back to the rushing attack for a second. Saquon, 14 carries for 83 yards. Devito, 1 for 7. Wandale, 1 for 2. And Breida, 3 for -1. So under 100 yards rushing yesterday, only 91 yards. I get it. You got to do what works. Obviously, the passing game for the most part was working, and I don't see a problem with that. But, like, you got Saquon Barkley. You know what I mean? The run blocking has to improve. There's no question about that. But, again, like I said, overall, I feel better about the offense. I need them to be better about moving the ball down the field. And I think we can all agree on that, as I'm sure the coaching can. And I'm sure it's a combination of everything. It's a combination of play calling, the offensive line, Tommy DeVito not escaping the pocket, and receivers dropping balls and having, you know, like a 10% run game. So all of those things, but that's something I really want to see them improve. And when we play the Patriots on Sunday, I better see it on Sunday because we were talking about one of the worst teams in the league. So let's improve upon that. Let's get to the defense because the defense really shined yesterday. Bobby Okereke led the team, no surprise, 14 tackles, 6 solo. Xavier McKinney might have had his best game as a New York, not as a Giant, but his best game this year. I don't know what it took. I don't care what it took. But it's about time that we have seen Xavier McKinney, and he's been getting there the last couple of weeks. He's been leading the team in tackles, and he's had good games like that. But some of the off-the-field stuff has really kind of bothered me and overshadowed his ability on the field. And I never want to see that for any player, whether it's a Giant or not. The off-the-field stuff and the shit that you say to the media should not be talked about. It should be talked about your game on the field. And when you have 12 total tackles, 8 solo, and 1 tackle for loss, that's what I want to talk about today. Xavier McKinney, great game yesterday. He helped, I think he recovered one of the fumbles too. We'll get to that in a second. But this is what I want to see from him. This is the reason why so many of us were so excited that he was drafted as a Giant. You know, this offseason, I wanted him re-signed. I felt like he was going to be a long-term Giant. So, you know, we'll see how things play out this offseason. But if he continues to play the way that he does, I think we could very well see him on the team next year. So, Micah McFadden, another guy. I mean, you can't love this guy anymore if you tried, seriously. 8 tackles, 5 solo, 1 tackle for loss. He is someone, and Bobby Okereke said the same thing. You know, both of them have spoken to the media, and when you've seen a really big difference in them, I would say it took like the first 3 to 4 weeks of the season, and then all of a sudden you see them like really turn it around here. They both attribute it to saying that they really understand Wink's system and feel really comfortable in it, and they're just flying all over the field doing what they do best. And that's all I can ask for, right? This is what I want to see from these guys. So another great day from Micah McFadden. Trey Hawkins, too, had a pretty good day. Listen, the guy's young. He's still learning. He's been on the bench for quite a bit. And I feel like, you know, overall he did okay. He had 6 total tackles, for solo. Kayvon! Guys, did I tell you, or did I tell you? The two defensive players I told you to watch were Kayvon Thibodeau and Dexter Lawrence. And Kayvon Thibodeau did it. He is the only player in Wink's system to ever have double-digit sacks. He got 2 yesterday. He's up to 10.5 in the season. He is top 5 in the NFL for sacks. So all of you people who've been bitching and moaning for the first 3 weeks of the season that Kayvon's a bust, suck it. You're wrong. I didn't listen to WFAN today, but all I have to say is that if Brandon and Sal were not kissing Kayvon and Carl Banks' ass and telling them that they were wrong and Tibbs and Carl were right, he's not a bust, he is an integral part of this defense. That is the reason why the Giants drafted him. We are only going to see more and more out of Kayvon, and if you're a Giants fan, you better be fucking pumped about it because there's no reason not to be, okay? 5 total tackles, 3 solo, 2 sacks, and 2 tackles for loss. Kayvon always seems to play his best against Washington. We could say that for a lot of players on this team. It's like, if we could play Washington every week, we would be 17-0. Unfortunately, that's not the case. But the reality is that Kayvon is a great player. Yes, his best play is against Washington, but he continues to follow it up week after week. And, we've talked about this a lot, is that when Azeez is in the game, it makes a big difference for someone like Kayvon. So they better draft a good edge rusher next year because Azeez is not going to be here with his injury history. But, Kayvon is a really good player. He's a good dude. He does a lot for the community. So everyone better be on the KT5 bandwagon right now, and don't you dare ever get off it. Because it's running choo-choo. I've only had 1 cup of coffee today, I swear. Dane Belton, my guy. 5 tackles, 3 total. He also played special teams a bunch and looked great. I've been really big on Dane Belton since they drafted him. I just love him, and I'm excited that he's getting more playing time. So overall, pretty good game for him. I hope that his snaps continue over time. The other defensive player that I told you to watch for versus the Commanders was Dexter Sexy Dexy Lawrence, who also had a sack, a tackle for loss, and 4 total tackles, all 4 of which were solo. Dexter is not getting enough love this season, and it's not fair. It's not fair. He's been playing out of his mind. He lost the best player next to him. Leo gone. He's getting double teamed. He's getting triple teamed. And he is still out there making plays. And you know what he's not making is excuses. So this guy better be on the all-pro list. I know the Giants suck. I know their record sucks. But Dexter Lawrence needs more love. The guy deserves it. He's killing it. He's had really good games this year, and this just being one of them. Another guy who's an impact player the second he's on the field. I know Giants fans love him. I know we are all happy that he signed that contract extension. There's no one more that I want to see on this Giants team than Dexter Lawrence. You gotta love the guy. Great game. Okay, next up we have to talk about Isaiah Simmons. He had 4 total tackles, 4 of them solo, and also had the game-sealing pick 6. Because what did the Giants do? They stressed us out in typical Giants fashion. It went down to the wire. The Commanders are driving down the field, and all of us are having flashbacks saying, oh my God, this is the Jets all over, and we're going to lose this game. And thank God they didn't because of Mr. Isaiah Simmons. Now, he's a guy that I know a lot of us were super pumped that the Giants brought him in. I want to see him re-sign. He's been getting more and more snaps every week. He's getting better every week. He's a guy that I really love. I want to see more of him. So great day for Isaiah Simmons. Please stay here. All right, guys. We got to talk about Darnay Holmes. We got to talk about Darnay Holmes because he also had an interception. Second one in 2 weeks. I mean, I got to give him credit for that. Also, he's done quite well on special teams, so I will give him credit for that. He's he's turning it around this year. You know, I complain about him left and right. I will complain about him in this one instance because I really need him to relax on the celebrations. Like, we're 2-8. The defense gave up 640 yards to the Cowboys, and you almost lost the game yesterday to the Commanders. So, you know, it's on the offense, it's on the coaching, it's on special teams, it's on defense, it's on everyone. But, you know, I just take the celebrations down a notch, okay? Listen, if we had a winning record, you celebrate all you want every time you get an interception, every time you make a play. I have no problems with that. But, you know, the record sucks. So one thing at a time here. Okay, so those are the guys that I really want to talk about on defense. I'm going to get into the scuffle in a second, but overall the Giants had 84 total tackles, 54 solo, 4 sacks, and 6 tackles for loss. So again, good day for the defense. I feel good about this defense. You know, I feel like they're making strides every week. They've had their days, they've given up big plays, but they also have done a pretty good job of every other team except the Cowboys. They've been able to do a good job of holding them to, under 31 points. So I think Miami was more, but outside of that, they've done a pretty good job. So I will give them credit where they deserve it. So let's talk about the 6 turnovers quickly. Xavier McKinney recovered a fumble. Micah McFadden recovered a fumble. And Gervarius Owens recovered a fumble. 3 total fumble recoveries for the Giants. Owens is a guy that we haven't seen a lot of. They drafted him this offseason. And, you know, he's kind of been hit or miss. Like, he had a really good off-season and spring, summer. And then, you know, we haven't seen a lot of him this year. So I am glad to see anyone who's on the field make plays. I don't care where you were drafted. I don't care how much money you make. When you're on the field, you make plays. So glad to see that from Gervarius Owens. And then they had 3 interceptions. Isaiah Simmons, like we said, had the pick 6. Darnay Holmes had the other one, and Nick McLeod had the 3rd. And Pinnock almost had one. It was right in his chest. It was close. But overall, you know, the defense really put the work in. Now, speaking of the defense, Cordell Flott, my boy, you guys know I speak very highly of him. I'm a big fan of his. Got ejected along with Curtis Samuel after the hit on Sam Howell. Listen, I don't condone fighting, but I want players to stick up for each other. So one thing that we all loved about Nick Gates is that he stuck up for his guys. He was Daniel Jones' right-handed guy. People talk shit about Jones. People pushed him out of bounds. People made dirty plays, whatever they did against Daniel Jones. Nick Gates was his guy who always defended him and fought for him. And that's what I want to see out of these guys. So, no, I don't think it's good that Cordell Flott was throwing punches and he got ejected. Curtis Samuel was doing the same. But I will say that what's the word I'm looking for? It reminds everyone that Dable has not lost this locker room, okay? You want to talk about, you can say fighting's a bad thing, they're undisciplined, whatever. Sure, maybe that's true, but I look at it, these guys are still fighting day in and day out to win games. They are not tanking, they are not dogging it on the field, and they are not saying, I don't care that I got pushed, or I don't care that, you know, you pushed around my teammates, like, it's not a big deal. He said, you're gonna fuck around, you're gonna find out. So, anyway, I'm just glad there's fight still left in this team, because I think it's very easy to look at this team, to look at the horrible football that they have played week in and week out and say that they just don't care. And I think what we saw on the field yesterday proves otherwise. So, you know, cry about tanking all you want. It's not, the players are not doing it. So, anyway, that's that. Let's talk about special teams real quick. So Gunner, 2 punt returns for 16 yards. The longest was 9. Randy Bullock, 1 for 1 on the field goal, and then 4 for 4 on the extra points. Randy Bullock has proven to be a pretty good signing. He's no Graham Gano, but he's been quite consistent. So I love that for us, and I love it for him. Good pickup. And last up, Jamie Gillen, 7 punts, 1 touchback, 2 inside the 20, and the longest was 56 yards. Gillen, I feel like redeemed himself kind of as the game went on. He had 1 or 2 punts that I was just like, bro, we needed you to really kick it up a notch here, and you just didn't. They were either, I think they were both way too short. But overall, Gillen is having, I think, a better season than he did last year. Yes, he's been a little inconsistent, but nowhere near as inconsistent as he was last year. So he's gotten better, and like this is what I talk about, right? Like I just want to see these guys improve. So overall, you know, I feel better about this team than I have in weeks. I have a little bit of hope. I'm feeling good going into the Pats game. I'm going to the Pats game. I will be in D3 tailgating with my Patriots loving husband. If you guys want to come over and talk shit to him, please do. We will be in D3. So I will be back on YouTube with a Q&A on Wednesday of this week before everyone goes to enjoy their Thanksgiving. And then I will be back with a Patriots recap podcast next Monday. So everyone enjoy this win, enjoy Victory Monday, and go Giants. Thank you so much for listening.